You're going to have to write songs that never see the day of light. You're going to have to do all of this stuff. And you have no idea if it's going to work. There's this, I think about the gap from where people are in a place that they don't want to be until they get to a place that they do. And I think of it like a lonely chapter.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel.
City boy! City boy!
All right, this is Chris Williamson. Explains the lonely chapter to Joe Rogan. And this concept of to get to a different place to grow, that you have to go through a lonely chapter, is actually pretty deep. And even though I have my loved ones, my family, my wife around me, there are ways that I am currently going through a lonely chapter. And that change is hard. It's not necessarily easy, harder for some than others. For me, I think I'm used to it because I went through a lot of lonely chapters because I'm what they call a military brat, in the sense that my dad was in the military for 21 years. So, every 3-4 years, you get up and you uproot from all your friends, all the things that were considered normal, and you go to a new place. So it's pretty much been happening my whole life, like going through these different phases of what is called a lonely chapter. But I thought this would be cool to hear Chris Williamson explain this. This is from the Joe Rogan podcast. Make sure you check that out. If you want to show love over here, like, share, comment, subscribe on the video. And I'm Black Pegasus, if you didn't know. Now you know, mudda sucker. Anyways, let's get into it, man. Let's hear it from start to finish. Actually, I'll pause and have conversations with you guys. But I think even the title, The Lonely Chapter, is very strong and profound. And I think it should be highlighted. So I want to see what he says here.
You're going to have to write songs that never see the day of light. You're going to have to do all of this stuff. And you have no idea if it's going to work. There's this, I think about the gap from where people are in a place that they don't want to be until they get to a place that they do. And I think of it like a lonely chapter. So everybody that has got from a place where they don't want to be to one where they are, there's a point where they're so different that they can't resonate with their old set of friends.
Right.
But they're not yet sufficiently developed that they've created their new set of friends. And there's this temptation to go back to the old patterns, the old ways of thinking. And I did this live show in London last year, my first big headline show at the Eventim Apollo in London. It was pretty cool. And this idea, I think, was one that really resonated with a lot of people because everybody's trying to grow, and there is an incentive for you to stay in the same place because not that many people grow. Most people don't change. Right. They make little changes. They'll cut their hair, or they'll lose 5 pounds, or, they'll switch from one company to another. But how many people do you know that have lost 50 pounds or moved to a different country or have genuinely changed the way that they see the world?
It's pretty rare.
It's not that common. And we are such mimetic creatures. We're so shaped by the people around us that we can't help but be tempted. You're going to have to do something. If you want to go from where you are to where you want to be, you're going to have to do something that makes you more different, more weird, more easy to be mocked, especially if you come from a country like the UK, where I'm from. Being different's not particularly celebrated in that way. It's the sort of thing that's quite easily mocked. There's a big culture of piss-taking. And if you start, what are you talking to people on the internet for? It's fucking weird. Like, that's stupid. That's not going to work. Why are you going to do that? So if you don't have that level of enthusiasm, there is no support around you to tell you that the thing that you're trying to do, the taking up the martial art, why are you training this Taekwondo bullshit, like, fucking 6 nights a week? Why are you coaching all of these mums and all of these, like, old guys on how to do Tai Chi or whatever? Why are you doing that?
He's bringing up some great points. The highlighted point I would highlight, and I've said this on this channel, I've said it in my music, but the people around you are very important. I've been very conscious of who I allow in my circle and what things I allow on a regular basis, and a lot of it, I just had to cut off because it doesn't serve you well, right? Like people who are too negative all the time, always going through some drama, always on some BS. Like, even if they are like some of my best friends, it's just like, you can't have that energy around you all the time if you plan on succeeding and taking things to another level. It's just not proper. And this is something I've said on the channel many times, but your food is information. Your music is information. The 5 people around you are information, obvious, everything else, news, etc. So if this information is your programming, right? It's programming you to go to wherever you need to go to. You want to have the best information or the best programming to be successful, to get to a certain place. And so I always say that, and that was cool that he talked about, because what he's talking about is the environment you create for yourself. And sometimes it's better to be alone and build the environment that you need yourself, whether it be, because sometimes you almost have to be delusional sometimes to make certain things happen, because no one around you will believe. So you look delusional when it's not delusion really, but you have to have like these understandings and this undying self-belief in yourself, where some people will take it as lunacy to make it. This is true. And I've went through many of these phases. As he was saying it, I just started tripping out, because I went from my average work phase to giving up work and chasing rap music, and I think about all the different people who've come and gone in my life, as the phases changed, right? So I'm a rapper touring with a lot of my friends that I still love dearly to this day. But I had to make a change because it wasn't working. And when he said that one thing about making a bunch of songs and them never hearing the light of day, that hurts, because I'm still in that phase at the sense of like, I wanted my music to, I have one song. I have songs that have gotten millions of streams, but I always want it to be, worldwide in a sense, right? And there's so many. I have like 13 or 14 albums. I can't even count how many albums I have. And that's not even including singles, vinyl releases, etc. So anyways, when he said that, I was like, it hurts, because I was playing some of my music for my kids, my old stuff, and they love it. They're all dancing. They're young, So I'm playing the clean stuff, and I'm like, wow, this still potentially has a shot. If they like it, someone else could like it. Anyways, that's a whole nother personal thing. So I go from rap Black Pegasus into promoter Black Pegasus, because rap just was, I still rap and stuff, but I started promoting concerts. That brought a whole new league of friends, while my friends in the rap industry continued to do what they do. Now I'm a promoter, right, at this time. And there was a lonely time. And then you have a group of friends, and you get strong in the concert promotion space. You fast forward to 2020, and they decimate concerts, and they decimate the ecosystem for independent promoters, which I am. I'm not a big corporate structure with a bunch of land or a building or tons of concessions. So, now I moved on to YouTube, which is very frightening, because I still juggle a little bit of writing raps and making music. I still juggle throwing some concerts from here and there. But right now, I'm in this new place of YouTube, and every leap has been scary. And there is a lonely chapter. And I don't know, I'm really appreciating what he's saying here, because it's really in depth. And I don't know what the word was. He said mimet or mimicked. I don't know. That was a big word. I liked it. Never heard it before. Let's go. Chris Williamson explains the lonely chapter to Joe Rogan.
Well, because maybe I'm sort of pulled to it, and there is this temptation to go back to your old ways of thinking. Go back to the road that you already know how it's going to end.
It's comfortable.
And
it's familiar.
I get the sense that this is not a bug. It is a feature. It's a part of moving from a place that you do not want to be to one that you do. And for the most part, you actually need to live through this lonely chapter. And you look at it and you go, well, the fucking Rocky montage was 3.5 minutes. For me, it's been 5 years. Where's where's the championship ring? You know what I mean? I haven't won the fight. Where's Apollo Creed? None of this stuff's happened. The thing that I wish more stories talked about, if you watch it in the movies, yeah, sure, there's ups and downs in the journey of the athlete that's going to change his life around and get the goal. But his self-belief never wavers, right? He makes the decision, and it's one straight shot, typically. And there'll be some challenges, but he'll get there. His self-belief never wavers. I don't think that that's what the experience of doing personal growth is like at all. In my experience, you're just swimming in uncertainty and fear and a lack of belief that it's even going to happen. You don't even have the promise of glory on the other side of it. I don't even know if this is going to be worth it. And I'm fucking doing Sam Harris's waking up meditation app, and I'm journaling on a morning. I'm going to the gym. Why am I eating meat and fruit? Does this even work? Like, you're doing all of this stuff, scrabbling like a guy in a fucking well, trying to find a handhold.
And if you don't have a good community of people that are also doing that, you're on your own.
So he said something about, I wish they would cover this in the story or the movies, and it's because the lonely chapter is not exciting. It's exactly what he said. You're nervous, you're uncertain, you believe, you don't believe. You do the same monotonous, tedious thing every day, consistently, which is super boring, to become great. And then people see the end result and they get super excited at the end result. But the lonely chapter is not exciting. Everyone is excited right now when I'm recording this about the NFL draft. But that's the end result of the lonely chapter. The early mornings with your dad or your coach from, wherever you started, elementary, middle school, high school, and college. College, you start to bubble. You start to reap the rewards. But once you get that draft, so it's just unique how, like, sometimes we don't highlight the grind and the tediousness. And what the other thing that doesn't get highlighted is people who don't make it, right? There's a lot of people who go through the lonely chapter and they're not drafted and they don't make it to this. And they got to go through multiple lonely chapters before they are successful. And I say that in a optimistic sense because I do believe if you stay consistent, eventually you will be successful. But there's a lot of people that give up right before that success happens and have gone through a lot of lonely chapters. So he's saying something pretty monumental here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is most people's experience, because if most people don't change, you are going to be an outlier if you're somebody who does change. I think about personal growth kind of like a rocket ship taking off. And as you take off, you've got a particular velocity that you're moving at. And what you want is to find other people moving at the same velocity as you. But the quicker that you move, the fewer people are going to be like you, right? So some people will be ahead of you, and you're in this lonely chapter, and then you catch up to them, and then, oh no. And this isn't, some comment on people that work on themselves are like morally better or worse than anybody else, but it's just a stark sort of fact about you talk to people and you resonate with people that are at the same level of life as you are. And that kind of makes sense. You have things to discuss. You're encountering the same sorts of challenges, whether it's in terms of your self-worth or your wealth or your relationship status, or all of these things. Birds of a feather, right? And, one of the, I guess, difficult realizations of people who want to change their life is that if you do it well, you might have to go through a period where you let go of all of your friends. But the really bad realization is if you do it really well, you might have to do that multiple times throughout your life. You find a group of people, finally, I've landed after that period where I was on my own and I didn't really understand. Oh, fuck. I'm still going.
Yeah.
I now you mean I got to do it again?
Yeah.
I've got to do it again. I just thought that I'd found my group and I've got to do it again. This lonely chapter thing is, it's a big deal. And I think that it explains why so few people make big changes, because the temptation is always going to be to just go back to what's normal, go back to what I know. And it's why, America, for all that it's a horrible cis hetero patriarchal superstructure that's misogynistically keeping everybody down, it's an enthusiastic and sort of excitable country. And you guys have kind of got permanent first line cocaine energy about everything.
Yo, he's cooking right now. And that was in sarcasm for y'all not familiar with him. He's being sarcastic with the box everyone in the world tends to put America in right now and look down on us. But this energy we have to create, to innovate, to ball out, to get this money, to do things like, now that's kind of being shown, oh, rich people are evil, this, that, and the other. But that what he's saying is true. There's just something in our DNA and blood out here where we just want to go get it. And that's why a lot of people come over here, because there are those opportunities, but also the energy helps evoke and help, like, yo, we're going to America to make this thing pop. And yeah, man, that's funny. That energy, he said, was wild.
And for me, it seems to be a a real enthusing environment. It encourages me to do things, helps me to take risks. It's either that or get kicked in the head a lot. And I just love it. I love the fact that it makes me feel confident in doing difficult things. And I wish that more people had that community around them. I think largely Reddit is just a website filled with people who couldn't find other people to talk about their niche in their hometown. Like this particular
there's a lot of that, right?
Warhammer 40K version or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult. And when you get to the stage where you're faced with some personal growth decision, you're always going to have to make this value exchange of, do I want to move forward on my own, or do I want to go back with my friends?
It's a good point, man. Chris?
Man, there's something bittersweet about how that ended. Kind of broke my heart a little bit because I'm choosing to move forward. But I have so many good friends, and you don't have to totally like leave them behind, but just the reality is the way people move, shake, and think will stop you from moving forward. It's just facts. I've seen it. You just get caught in these ruts, and it hurts. You miss them all at some capacity. You think about them all at some capacity. And they're literally, it's weird because these are all chapters in my life, And that example he made, I have been in a position where, let's say fiscally, like a bunch of my friends were ahead of me. And then it's just like all of a sudden you're like trying to figure it out. I just want what's best for my family. And I'm very motivated by leaving some type of generational wealth for my family. The key is God, and making sure they're good humans first. But, after that, it's definitely, some generational wealth. I want to be able to provide for them and leave a legacy. So I don't know, but he hit something on the nose there, and I wanted to highlight that on this channel. I don't know if it'll get a lot of views. It doesn't matter. These are type of topics that I really, really, really enjoy. Like, they really bring it home for me. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Chris Williamson explains the lonely chapter to Joe Rogan. I like that. You guys tap it in the comments. Let me know what you think.
City boy, city boy.